Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Unash Dukes podcast, presented by Emil's Hideaway on First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids. And thank you for tuning in today, as always, whether you do so through YouTube, crmlivesports.com, Facebook, X, and something new, Mark, right? You've outdone yourself this week.
Scott, I'm just a modern man, okay? I got us hooked up on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. I'm still toying around with that, but we want to be at as many platforms as possible and X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, CRM Live Sports. Trying to expand our horizons, Scott.
Your street cred is going up as we speak.
My grandkids would be proud of me.
Not bad for two old guys.
No.
Two old guys. We welcome you in, not only thanks to Emil's Hideaway, but also to our other great sponsors, including Kurt Gustafson Agency of American Family Insurance, Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology, and Nimritter Sportswear in Cedar Rapids. And again, if you'd like to climb on board and help out with us here on the Unash Dukes podcast, you can do so. Just drop us a line and give them the email, Mark, that they can drop us a line with. Or if you'd like to comment on the shows, we'd like to hear from you.
Sure. Unash and Dukes, all lowercase, at gmail.com.
There you go. Weekend is upon us, the weekend prior to Thanksgiving week. First of all, Mark, I'd like to welcome back an old friend, if you notice.
Aha.
Behind me on the wall.
The Schmedium jacket.
It is back. As our friends, the Pin Pals, took great care of it, but we won it on Wednesday night and in come from behind fashion. As I believe it was, what was it, 17, 13, 18, 12? I don't even know. We won. We had to get 16, and we won. So the jacket is back. There it is again. The Youth Schmedium satin jacket from May City Bowl.
Well, the Rusty Nails don't have a trophy case per se, but that's what we hang our hat on right there. The
That's
Schmedium
right.
jacket. Yeah.
I had to put it up. I had to display it right there. And
at least you didn't cover the Chiefs poster there. So
I did not.
Only partially. Only partially.
Partially, which is the Chiefs have partially their playoff hopes still alive. That could go away over the weekend. But yes, and thanks to our friends at Pin Pals. Always a lot of fun when we get together with them. But hey, we got a lot to get to. A lot of football, maybe a little bit of basketball. But we start things off with congratulations, hearty congratulations to the Xavier football team as the Saints, the Class 4A high school football champions in the state of Iowa, once again, fifth in school history, fifth for Dwayne Schulte, the veteran head coach. A convincing victory over Pella at the Unidome, 31-6, and a happy bunch of Saints and a happy bunch of people in the metro enjoying that.
Yeah, it was a great call. I'm sure it was a lot of fun for you and John Haggerty last night. Archives are available, right? You can go back and listen to those. But this is one more brick in the foundation of Xavier, certainly being one of the premier programs in the state of Iowa, with one of the premier coaches in the state of Iowa, certainly the premier program in the metro area among the 7 schools. The Metro has not had a lot of success in the last 35 years in winning state championships. That's not the end all for programs. I get that. Some have made a run. But Xavier has firmly established itself as just a terrific program. It was a great performance last night. It continues to churn out players. The coaching staff, by and large, stable with Dwayne at the helm. and just a convincing victory last night over a familiar foe in Pella.
Ninth time they had played Pella, and the Saints now own a 5-4 advantage as far as all told in the series is concerned. And I think it's pretty fair to say that as far as 4A now, Pella Xavier might be the best rivalry in the state of Iowa in Class 4A. And like John said last night during the broadcast, we both, during the regular season at the Week 7 Decorah Xavier game, kind of looked at each other and said, you know what? I think it's going to happen again. And lo and behold, it happened again in the championship. And congratulations to everybody. What a game by Carter Hoffman. Over 200 yards rushing for the Xavier senior tailback. And counting them up last night, I believe 13 starters back next year for the Xavier Saints, and a very good lower group as well. What's new? And they will be the preseason number one in Class 4A next year.
Yeah, they're not going to go away. You mentioned Hoffman; he was terrific, over 200 yards rushing, and Cash Parks at the helm of the quarterback, very good. That defense was terrific. I thought really did a good job on Pella's standout running back. And aside from one touchdown, it was a great. It was terrific on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, the Deers kid is really good for Pella.
Mm-hmm.
He is strong. Um, he's going to make some college coach very happy. 5'10", 185. First guy doesn't bring him down, and he was just a tough runner last night. But Pella got behind, had to throw the football a little bit more, I think, than they wanted to. Credit Xavier for that. Cash Parks, he's back next year. Great job by the seniors for Xavier, and to go out with that championship. As high it was for Xavier, it was as disheartening and just ripping your guts out for Regina as they fell to West Lyon in overtime. West Lyon coming from 14 back to win. The Music City Miracle play on the one kickoff for a touchdown. They throw back across the field. Very well done. And then one that's going to live in infamy, I think, for Regina. There was a fumble in that second half. That should not have been a fumble. It was out of bounds. And if we had replay, I'm not saying Regina, you can't play the whole, take 7 off the board. It wouldn't have happened. They might have fumbled on the next play. Who knows? Might have thrown an interception. Who knows? But on that particular play, that should not have been a fumble recovery. It was out of bounds. And West Lyon, very good program. Maybe somebody who I respect said West Lyon might be the most consistent winning team outside of the large school class that we have in the state of Iowa right now. And you talk about Xavier putting out people into the pros. I mean, up in Lyon County between Central Lyon and West Lyon, how many great college players that they have put out up there. And they got more coming. Jay Roseboom just does a tremendous job. It seems like they got dudes every year. I don't know where they get them.
Well, we don't hear much about that part of the state, but I think you're really right about that. And Regina is not far behind. I mean, with the years with Marv Cook as head coach, and it has churned out its fair of excellent players too. And there were some on this team with Tate Wallace, and who's going to be back, and Savion Miller, terrific running back, and Kyle Tracy, really gritty quarterback. And what a way to lose a football game, though. I know Savion Miller is probably beating himself up today over that fumble, but I agree. I don't think it should have been ruled a recovery by West Lyon, but nevertheless, I mean, West Lyon jumped out to a lead. Regina came back. It got a nice, healthy lead, or so it thought. And then West Lyon came just back and forth, overtime, terrific game. Feel bad for the Regina center, who that snap went over the head of Tate Wallace at the end. Actually, I thought Kyle Tracy got in on the first play of that drive, but it was ruled down at the one. But Just a heck of a way to lose a football game, but two tremendous programs.
Yeah, and yeah, great job by all the football teams out there. Talking about two guys as we make a nice transition and stay in football, but go to college football. Two of the gentlemen for Cedar Rapids Xavier that are now playing in college football will have their final home games on Saturday at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Ethan Herkett and Jackson Rexroth will take to the field one final time for the Hawkeyes. Senior day as the Hawks take on a reeling Sparty as Michigan State comes in limping in to Kinnick Stadium, 0-7 in the Big Ten, 3-7 overall. They've lost seven straight. Um, you can't overlook anybody, Mark. You know that. But if you're Iowa, you got to have this game on Saturday for so many reasons.
Yeah, senior day is a big deal, and it's a big deal for Herkett and Rexroth, who I know you covered two state championships when they were on the Xavier campus, as they were, I believe, sophomores and juniors. Xavier won state championships, but they're two great stories. Rexroth, a former walk-on, who starts most of the time, contributes a whole lot, has made a lot out of his career. And Herkett has been a stalwart at defensive end and has just played really, really well. Two of 27 seniors that are going to be honored before the game tomorrow. And it's a mixture of guys like Rexroth and Herkett, guys who come through the program, but also transfers like Gronowski and Legion and Seth Anderson, Jacob Gill, people like that that have had their moments. Maybe not for very long at Iowa, but they've been an Iowa Hawkeye, and I think that alone should be a whole lot of motivation for the Hawkeyes. Favored by more than two touchdowns.
Yeah, several very good players, offensive linemen up and down the line, et cetera, going to be honored. Not only at Kinnick, it's a rarity, Mark. We don't get usually three senior days on the same Saturday in the state of Iowa, but we have that on Saturday. Iowa State hosting Kansas. UNI will host and try to play spoiler for Youngstown State. That will be up at the Unidome coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock. So wherever you go, you're going to be saying goodbye to a lot of seniors coming up. And getting back to Iowa, remember Michigan State beat the Hawkeyes last year, 32-20 up in East Lansing. So this is not one that you can just mail in if you're Iowa. I don't think you can mail in anything anymore in the world of college football. But Hawks got to get that sour taste out of their mouths of two straight losses, 13 in a row to ranked teams. And as far as one score losses this year, they're starting to mount up for Iowa. I guess the bottom line is don't let Sparty stay in this game on Saturday.
I agree with you. It's a game that Iowa needs to take control of early and put the hammer down and get a convincing victory. Those don't happen too often in the Big Ten. Last year, I went to Michigan State, and Aiden Childs probably had his best game as a quarterback, and he's been hurt. I expect it to be a big day for Iowa. You're right. You can't lay back. You can't take anything for granted, but this should be a big W for the Hawkeyes.
A lot of people are saying Jonathan Smith is on the hot seat for Michigan State. He's finishing up his second year. Michigan State is not going to go to a bowl again. Used to be you would get 4 or 5 years, Mark. Now it seems that you better start winning by the end of your second year, or at least show that you have the capability of winning. I don't know if it's fair or not for not only Jonathan Smith, but other coaches around the country. But this is the landscape that we live in right now. And there is talk in East Lansing that if it's a 3-9 finish, that Michigan State may be in the market for a new coach.
I think that'd be unfortunate. I mean, 2 years is not a long time. He's suffering, Jonathan Smith, that is, suffering from Mel Tucker's problems, the previous coach. The NCAA came down and actually stripped Michigan State of some victories. And, you know, Smith is kind of coaching under a cloud there. Uh, it's a pretty good tradition at Michigan State. And, he had success at Oregon State. I think he forgot how to coach, but he needs to get some players in place and, turn things around and be given an opportunity to do so, I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how Michigan State comes out. It's going to be interesting to see how Iowa comes out. Are they going to be the gunslingers that we saw in the first half in Los Angeles against USC, or is it going to be more of a conservative Iowa attack? It should be a decent day, both in Kinnick Stadium and at Jack Trice Field over in Ames. We'll get to that coming up in a moment, but certainly a game Iowa needs to move up the bowl pecking order at this point. Um, if Iowa can get the game against Michigan State, if they can win on Black Friday at Lincoln against a very good Nebraska team, 8-4 Iowa has a chance, I think, an outside chance to head to a New Year's Day or New Year's ish bowl, if you will. They're not always on New Year's Day anymore. People are thinking Tampa. If it's 7-5, then you bring in a lot more. Uh, hey, all bowl games are good, Mark. Did you hear that?
Are they? Yeah.
But maybe not quite the glitzy and glamorous bowls would be more in line for what the Hawkeyes are going to bring. So lay that on top of more reasons why Iowa needs to win tomorrow.
Yeah, the more you win, the better SEC opponent you're going to face, by and large. I mean, that's been the case. That's been the bowl structure. That's what Iowa's going to get. If it can beat Michigan State and Nebraska, it's going to get a pretty decent opponent, probably from the SEC, and could finish with 9 wins. Could theoretically finish with 6 wins. I think the truth is going to be somewhere in between. But a couple other guys that I really uh, want to mention that really are interesting stories on this Iowa football team, and one is Aaron Graves, a guy that was taking, I think he had an associate degree from college when he was in high school, and he graduated in like 2+ years, and has been a solid defensive lineman. And a guy like Xavier Wampa, who was a defensive back, who was maybe one of the most decorated uh, recruits that Iowa's had, and he's had his ups and downs. But now he's reached the end, and did it turn out the way he thought, the way Iowa fans thought? I don't know. I think he's been a pretty good player, but those are a couple other guys among the seniors I thought I'd mention.
There were a lot of people that thought Xavier Wampa would not be wearing black and gold right
Yeah,
now. Not only off of his high school recruitment, but also just going through the transfer portal. I mean, there were rumors the last 3 years that Xavier Wampa was going to be leaving, but I think he's solidified himself, and I think I agree with you that
and a guy like Drew Stevens, who came from just down the road from Augusta National, one of our favorite places, and he's the all-time leading scorer. We never thought Nate Kading's record would be beaten, right?
right,
Now it has. He's been terrific too.
yeah, certainly has. In Ames, Iowa State and Kansas both coming off of bye weeks, so that cancels each other out. And the Cyclones will have their senior day by hosting the Jayhawks. And Iowa State at 6-4, they face the same situation as Iowa, perhaps a little bit
Mm-hmm.
brighter due to the fact that looming next week is a trip to Stillwater, Oklahoma. And Lord only knows what kind of Oklahoma State team they're going to see in week number 12 with an interim coach and a disaster season over there. But as usual, when you talk about Kansas, Jalen Daniels, are you going to get the good Jalen Daniels, or are you going to get the not so good Jalen Daniels? If you get the good Jalen Daniels, Kansas has got a shot. If Iowa State can contain him, I think Iowa State probably wins this thing. I'm not going to say handily, but Iowa State wins this thing.
So, okay, right there. I think no question about it. And the bye week, Cyclone fans hope that it's been a time to regroup. It's a shame that Gabe Burkle from Cedar Rapids Prairie going to be out. Got injured. He's out for the year. Either is going to or has already undergone surgery, and a shame that his season ends. But it's a chance for Iowa State to put a seventh win on the board and probably an eighth the following week, but which would be a nice season. Uh, is it what Iowa State fans hope for? Probably not after last year, but still a good solid season could be had.
Iowa State's bowl destinations are fluctuating in the wind out there as well. And I've seen a couple people mentioning Memphis again with the Liberty Bowl. Again, remember, there's no such thing as a bad bowl. And, Memphis is a great place, but I mean, do you want a third matchup with Iowa State and Memphis? I mean, if I'm a Cyclone fan, no, I don't. I Give me another situation. I've also seen Iowa and Missouri talked about for a rematch. I don't think that's a good idea. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Go try to net another one here. But for Iowa State, they will get Caleb Bacon back the way it sounds,
Mm-hmm.
that linebacker, and that's going to be a big help for the last couple of games. And you mentioned Gabe Burkle, and knowing Gabe and knowing his family as long as I have, it's sad that he ended up with that injury. He was the number 4 receiver for Iowa State this year and was really, really, I think, he had that up arrow next to his name,
Yeah.
and he's he's going to be back and hopefully healthy and ready to go next year. But premature into his season, which is too bad because number one, Iowa State's had a ton of injuries. I mean, everybody's got injuries at this point, but Iowa State seems to have had a few more than other people, starting in the defensive secondary, going through some linebackers, and now the tight end room has been hit a little bit. Uh, both of them, to be honest with you. But um, Iowa State needs a good showing, and I think the Cyclones will get a good showing on Saturday.
Yeah, I think Iowa State fans have something to look forward to on Saturday afternoon, and not so much on the college football landscape. I mean, it's cupcake week in the SEC. Uh, SEC teams playing schools like Mercer and whatnot, and but the only marquee game that I can find is USC and Oregon, which should be a lot of fun.
I think the SEC gets a bad rap for that because every school in the power conferences play these teams. They just play them early in the year. Now, this is the last year for a Cream Puff City in week 12 or whatever it is for the SEC because they go to the 9-game schedule starting next year. So, enjoy Mercer and other assorted Cream Puff FCS teams at your own discretion over there. But they always get such a bad rap for playing these teams ahead of their big rivalry games
No, it's
coming up
no different than Indiana playing 3 cupcakes at the beginning of the year. Or
Iowa played Albany and UMass.
exactly. Not picking on Indiana, but you're right about Iowa, and they do get a bad rap. Hey, try to play Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia back to back to back. You need a breather. This is not a bye week, but the next best thing to it.
Very true. Very true. In the National Football League, big game for your Bears, Mark. Your first place, Chicago Bears, hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming up at Soldier Field. Huge game for my Kansas City Chiefs to try to stay alive. We're not helped by the Houston Texans suddenly catching fire, along with the Baltimore Ravens catching fire. But Chiefs and the Colts, it's a good weekend on the NFL slate. Minnesota goes to Lambeau to take on Green Bay. Know several people that are making that excursion up there to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Tampa Bay and the Rams on Sunday night. Philadelphia and the Dallas Cowboys. Can never forget about that one. So there's some. If we're lacking on Saturday, we could make up for it on Sunday.
I was looking forward to the Bears roughing up Aaron Rodgers a little bit. I don't know if he'll play with his wrist injury, but we'll see. And Scott, you know the only team that Patrick Mahomes has not beaten in his career?
Indianapolis.
You got it.
Try to. They will try to take care of that
Right.
situation.
Try to right the ship, yeah.
You got to tackle Jonathan Taylor. Who? Okay, I'll ask you. Everyone is talking about the the most popular discussion as far as the NFL is concerned is who's the MVP. Just like college football, who's the Heisman favorites right now? Nobody in the NFL is mentioning anything about Jonathan Taylor. And why is that? I mean, this guy's got a chance to break rushing records this year. Where would the Colts be without Jonathan Taylor? Now, I understand Daniel Jones has been very good, but there's a reason his receivers are open a lot. It's because Jonathan Taylor's running for 200 yards a game. No one's talking about him because nobody likes running backs in the NFL anymore.
That's a good point. It's a quarterback award, right? Josh Allen,
That's
Patrick
right.
Mahomes, Peyton Manning, on and on and on. And, the same can be said of Saquon Barkley with Jalen Hurts. Uh, that's one reason Philadelphia is as good as it is. And Jonathan Taylor certainly is one of the reasons Indianapolis is a pretty solid football team. You got to stop him.
I hope we can. No, I don't want to stop him. Contain Jonathan Taylor. That's all the Chiefs have to do. Contain Jonathan Taylor.
You make it sound easy.
Well, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Not going to be easy, certainly. Hey, before we go, the news coming out this week, near and dear to all our hearts, but I think to you more than a lot of people, Mark, and that is the fact that the Cedar Rapids Gazette was sold again this week. A new company coming in starting December 1st. And unfortunately, as we know, as a lot of people know, a lot of members of the media don't usually get to write their own exit strategy. And two of our good friends are going to not have a job at the end of November. And we would be remiss if we didn't send out our best to both Mike Hlas and JR Ogden.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about what's happened this week, and about these two guys and Mike Hlas and JR Ogden, because I was worked so closely with them over a period of time. JR was my assistant sports editor and became sports editor after I left the Gazette, and has had a long, solid career navigating sometimes murky waters at the Gazette. And Mike, when Gus Schrader hung it up in 1987, I believe it was, we retired Red Peppers, the name of his column, but the column continued. I was writing 3 days a week, and Mike Hlas came on board to write 4 columns a week. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but believe me, it is. And oftentimes Mike wrote more than that. I mean, just recently he was covering Iowa basketball, writing columns, he'll cover his last Iowa football game on Saturday. I've spoken with Mike. He hasn't really shared a lot of emotion, but I'm sure it's for both he and JR, it's very bittersweet. And I don't want to cast aspersions on the new owners of the Gazette, because what's business is business. You and I have come to know that. So all I can do is wish JR and Mike the best. And I have nothing but fond memories. And perhaps I'll put something together here over the weekend and throw it out there for people.
Yeah, and we'll let the everything simmer down a little bit. Uh, Try to get Mike on, and he's very popular around these parts. And to be honest with you, Mark, there just aren't a whole lot of sports columnists out there anymore. The industry has changed, as you know, as I know, as readers know. It's going to keep evolving. But as far as just putting a column out 3 or 4, 5 times a week, especially in a paper the size of our city, in our area, you just don't see them anymore. It's the big city columnists that are basically the only ones left, and they're kind of going away little by little.
And it's sad too, because not to minimize anything anybody ever does, but it's it's very basic to preview a story, cover it, write a follow-up story. What Mike does and has done is offer perspective and analysis and humor and a little needle here and there. And if you don't have a columnist, you don't have that, because you can't interject your personal opinion in a normal story. Imagine if the op-ed page in the Gazette went away. You don't have any opinions out there to make you think. Not everybody agreed with Mike Hlas. But as I told more than one reader when I was the sports editor of the Gazette, I just asked him, "Do you read him?" "Oh yeah, I read him." A lot of people read Mike Hlas, and hopefully wherever he lands, people read more of him.
True, and I don't know what Mike's plans are. I'm going to reach out to him soon, just letting everything kind of settle a little bit. But both he and JR have been great for the area, great for the Cedar Rapids Gazette. They certainly will be missed. I have no idea what the plans are for coverage of Iowa men's basketball. That was Mike's beat, the one beat he had. And I heard last Thursday night during the Chicago State game, the television did a nice little drop in as far as saluting Mike. So that was good. And we're saluting Mike and JR here today. And more on that coming up.
Now,
are your Bears winning?
they have a shot. Pittsburgh at home. Pittsburgh is my second favorite team, actually, but not on Sunday. The rest of the schedule after that, I'm not real optimistic. But
I think the Bears win.
I think it's a doable game Sunday.
I think the Bears win.
Yeah.
And I think the Chiefs are going to give me just enough hope by winning on Sunday to keep me entertained and tuned in. Yes, yes. We'll see how it all plays out. And, yeah, we'll be back with you next week. It's Thanksgiving week, so it'll be a little bit weird next week, but we'll keep you updated on when we will be back with the Unash and Dukes podcast. So again, big thanks to Emel's Hideaway, our presenting sponsor, First Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, right across from the Lindale Mall and next to the Home Depot, open at 4 o'clock on Monday through Saturday. Also, thanks to American Family Insurance agent Kurt Gustafson on Johnson Avenue Northwest in Cedar Rapids. Bim Ritter Sportswear, downtown 817 2nd Avenue Southeast in Cedar Rapids, and online at bimritter.com for all your screen printing or embroidery needs for your company or special event. And a big thanks to Dr. John Woolner at Epiphany Dermatology on Council Street Northeast as well. Have a great weekend, Mark.
You as well. We'll talk next week.
All right. It's been a Unash and Dukes podcast. Thank you for joining us.